Not fancy enough. Much better. Fancy. Fancy. Just like Expedition 33. Fanciest game of the year. Fancy. Also just plain game of the year. Possibly. There's a lot of awards. Everyone thinks about the Game Awards, but there is, in fact, other awards. It's already won some things. Yes, and it's already had probably its biggest snub. The Grammys? Yeah, the Grammys have a video game soundtrack category. And, yeah. What won? I don't think the Grammys have happened yet. Oh, it just nominations were announced. Wow. Well, Kyle, we're here because we've done a rare thing for us. We've beaten a game. In a good amount of time, too. Yeah, we got through pretty quick. Some side stuff we haven't gotten done yet, but... Well, that's a fault of the game. We'll get into that later. Probably the only thing I think is a fault with the game. It's a good game. Yeah, dude, it must suck if you don't like this game. The weight of the overhype must be completely crushing if you didn't just accept it and play it in its own time. Yeah, like 2025 must be the most exhausting year in the world if you don't like Expedition 33. Because all anyone is going to tell you in the gaming landscape is how amazing Expedition 33 is. But it is. At least Act 1. Yeah, we didn't play it right away. We waited, what, 4-5 months? People were pretty respectful of spoilers. Like, I wasn't spoiled about Jack, and like we made that video, like, can we guess the twist, which was like 8th or 9th title. We weren't even sure it was the proper title. We just kind of went with it. We did not know there was actually like that big of a reveal in Expedition 33. But as it turns out, something was going on. By the end of Act 1, you knew something was up. This world was going to be interesting. Yeah. No, I mean, I had a lot of questions, but at no point was I thinking it was a world within a world. I was really hung up on like reincarnation or multiple versions of a person, which I guess multiple versions of a person is actually a thing. It did happen. Yeah. I mean, the journey to get here was just really interesting because there was a lot of hype around this game when it first came out, and then the hype just didn't die. People just kept talking about how good the game was, and mad respect to the greater public, keeping it really spoiler-free. Really general, like, oh, it's so sad, or it's so beautiful, or it's so peak, or it's absolute cinema. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, it's like everybody who talked about how good this game was after it came out kept it to the marketing materials. I just saw a lot of Gustav. I saw some Verso. I'm like, who's the dude with the white hair? Looks different enough from Gustav. The cast of this game has a little bit of a case of the same face. Verso and Gustav have some similar facial features. Might even be the same person looking at it from the outside. I thought that for a little bit. That was a cook I had about the damn story once I started playing it. But yeah, like the community I guess the community that's been established, because it's such a new game. This is new for me. Usually you and I talk about games that have been around a very long time. The communities are established. They are an institution. They've been around for years, if not decades. The community for Expedition 33 is less than a year old because the game is less than a year old. It's pure word of mouth. I mean, outside of a rather lengthy redesign process, outside of the marketing done about the voice actors they got, there really wasn't much to make this stand out. The trailer, to me, was rather generic. Yeah. I saw swords fly at a big hand monster and a bunch of voiceover lines. It didn't do the walk cycle thing, which is the bane of my trailer existence, where it's all the exciting places you're gonna go someday. Look at our game. Dragon's Dogma did this. Oh, okay, where you're running, and it's an easy match cut to do because a camera is fixed in video games. So exactly. Run, and then you run somewhere else, and then you crossfade between them, and you get this. Yeah, I love them. I'm a sucker for a cheap match cut. Like, simple, let's go. But you're right. I barely even remember the marketing for this. I just remember people saying it's a new turn-based RPG from a non-Japanese studio. There was a lot of argument about the battle system at the time. Actually, you bring up a good point. When this first came, I don't consume a ton of video game content, but I do listen to two podcasts fairly religiously. I enjoy Giant Bombcast, and then what I like to call Original Giant Bombcast, which is now called Nextlander, because it's most of the dudes who used to be on Giant Bombcast. So I listen to those two video game podcasts almost every week. Also shout out to our friends at Core, but I don't remember hearing a lot about Expedition 33 on that game because only one of them has taste. One of them chose to play and plays those kind of games. Scott and Bo, I love you both, but for the love of God, play this game. Please play this game. But at the time, it came out, and I remember hearing on the two podcasts that I listened to that it's a very good game. And then immediately on both shows, if I'm remembering correctly, the hosts broke out into an argument about pro and anti-parry. And it was like the only thing anyone wanted to talk about when this game was brand new. I feel like all I heard about this game when it was brand new was we're too souls-brained. When parry is officially overstayed its welcome. It has jumped the shark. It has infiltrated our damn turn-based RPGs. It's too much parry, which now, for me, after having played Expedition 33, is like the most insane thing you could possibly tell me. Which I guess it just comes down to if you like parrying or not, but I think the gameplay in this game is exceptional.
I didn't hear much about the parry. It was more of the quick time events that I heard complaints about, which
The QTEs.
they're not on the level of like a God of War. You aren't making your way across the buttons. I think you hit X for every single one. Now there's jumps where you do a jump dodge and then have to hit a trigger to fire your free aim. So there's elements of, but there's never a follow the X square triangle kind of moment. And there's no surprises. Once you know you're going to hit X, you will hit X in that order every time. Abilities aren't randomized as to what you're going to perform once you start them up.
No, but the parries have quite a bit of variance based on the enemy you're fighting and the attacks that the enemy is using at this time.
But eventually you learn that the name of the attack, the animation, gives you some similarities. Every boss you meet you're going to suck at until you're good at. It's just kind of an exchange of the game. But there was a lot of conversation about, can't this just be a real-time game? And we're learning right now and playing Final Fantasy IV on the channel that this has not, real turn-based has not been a thing for the majority of turn-based existence as I thought it existed.
Yeah. For anyone watching who don't know, we're currently trying to play every Final Fantasy ever because we didn't grow up with them. You've played 10. I have played 2 Kingdom Hearts games. That's pretty much it. And so we just got to 4, Final Fantasy IV, actual 4. It was 2 in the United States, but we're playing Final Fantasy IV. And it's not turn-based. It's semi-turn-based. It's turn-based with a twist, which is insane. It's blowing my mind. And actually, it's really hard for me to get that out of my brain right now because we're talking about a game that I feel like 50% of the reason that it is a sensation is that it is a modern turn-based RPG, which at least the main tentpole Final Fantasies have gotten away from. Square is still making plenty of very good turn-based RPGs, but the Final Fantasy fans that want to return to turn-based RPGs are not getting that, at least with their main franchise, Final Fantasy. So yeah, it's interesting thinking about that right now. I would immediately tomorrow, I'm already bought in. Whatever the next Final Fantasy is going to be, I'm going to buy it. But I would buy it faster. I might even pre-order for the first time in God knows how long. If they announce Final Fantasy 17 is coming and it will be turn-based, I'd be like, yeah, let's go.
Well, turn-based with some of these involvement features, because that's what they are. Like, we know the developers love these kinds of games, and they made a game they would love to play. Devil May Cry influence, many other influences as well, caused them to combine this into the turn-based atmosphere. And I think it works great. I don't think the difficulty is so high that it's a barrier to entry, though you might feel FOMO and not kill in the first rhyme. And you may experience some, what is this game fighting Mael, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's all. It also has a difficulty setting, which you and I did not take advantage of.
Well, in the other direction, we made it harder at one point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a triumph. My journey with it is pretty much knowing I was going to like the story. Maybe is that weird to you? Is that a weird thing for me to say? I felt like I knew I was going to like the story.
Tonally, it seemed your jam.
Yeah, I like prestige television. I love
Charlie Cox.
I do love Charlie Cox. Oh man, do I love Charlie Cox. My favorite thing ever in the history of Netflix is their Daredevil series that he is the star of. The Disney revival is decent. I like it quite a bit, but those original 3 Daredevil seasons on Netflix is, whew, that's my shit. I just really like the guy. There's just something about him where I'm just like, that's the kind of man I want to be. Not like beating the shit out of people in an alleyway, but I don't know. There's just something about him. He's tough, but he's sensitive, you know? So lame to say it out loud.
He's vulnerable. He's interesting. He's exposed.
I like prestige TV. I love drama, as you know. Show me something sad with real people. I'm gonna eat it up. Your Breaking Bads, your Mad Men's, your, hell, even your Daredevil. I would say Daredevil is prestige TV. Game of Thrones when it was good. Anyway, yeah, I just felt like, well, he's in this, and it's a cast of people in their 30s, at least within the game. I don't know how old the actual actors are.
Yes. The selling point, the buy-in, the time you are becoming invested in the game, yes, it's about older people, which is fun.
Yes.
It does eventually turn into teenager kills God, as often does happen in these stories.
Maybe. It might turn into creation of God kills God. And that character is not a teenager. Maybe.
Maybe. But the overall delivery of a early 30s cast with voice actors who are extremely skilled, mocap that's very well done, is compelling.
Yeah, it really is. And we're playing a lot of JRPGs right now as we go through the back catalog of classic Final Fantasy things, and also just Final Fantasy XIV itself, the MMO for which we're fairly well known for at this point. Sounds conceited to say, but a better way to put it, it's what the channel's known for. It's a lot of youngins up in there, and also just anime style tends to make people look younger, even if it's an older character, like the damn smokehouse of a grandma in Dan to Dan. She does not look like someone of grandma age.
Oh, that's... what? Story related.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
No, I just figure someday that's going to come to light, that, adoption or something
you're
like that.
making an assumption.
Yeah, I'm making a big assumption.
Well, she's got gray hair.
Well, yeah.
That's in anime, that's it. That means you're old.
It's your ancient.
That's all most anime does.
Maybe
right?
it's white hair.
Anything with a anime style.
Like power scale white hair.
Like your Final Fantasy XIVs. Like, I love them. Like Emmett, one of my favorite characters of all time. But every time I see a social media post where they're like, oh, the bags under his eyes, the weights of the eons, it's like, it's barely a line. Like, there's barely a wrinkle there. Whereas you look at the cast of X-Men 33, a bunch of characters who were supposed to be 33 years old or about to turn it and then die as a result, you can see every line on their forehead. You can see acne scars. You can, like, they look like real people. They look a bit like us, which I also enjoy.
And then they do several flips, but they're battle trained. This is their life.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how far I want to go down this, but in the past, I'd say decade or so, there's been a lot of conversation about representation. And usually that conversation is from people of color about seeing people that look like them in their fiction. I feel like I finally kind of understand it because I've been playing games that have an anime style for so long that I do not feel represented. And then I picked up Expedition 33 and I'm like, oh my God, curly hair. Oh my God, wrinkles on foreheads.
And that tech, that style they developed really climaxes and works well when you get to the beach and you meet your first old man. And that's an imposing moment. It's a disturbing moment for the characters. But if there's one thing I want to talk about with this particular production, it's the use of their budget. It is the way they worked their camera and made an achievable product. The way they lingered on a face long enough so you knew who was talking and they cut to somebody else reacting. Constantly made it moving and engaging, but more so than that, it meant they could skip on lip syncing budget. It means they didn't have to be perfect. You already know who's talking, you were there for a moment. You watched Renoir bite the air as he's about to say something, and then we care more about someone else's reaction to that. Verso playing the piano being the peak of this. Nobody wants to program a piano being played accurately.
I'm a Rock Band fan, so I want to shout out Harmonix, who is now just a Fortnite machine, but they would have wanted to program the piano.
And absolutely, there were people in the audience that were like, he's kind of leaning a little too left to hit that key. But
that drives me nuts with guitar because I know enough.
And the stars in Titanic, like this has happened in many, many movies before. If you're an expert in something, you're going to have a bad time.
I call it the Neil deGrasse Tyson ruining of fun.
The burden of knowledge can be very great, but they used it to great effect. And constantly throughout this, they're finding ways to tell an interesting story. And much like original Star Wars New Hope, their consistent journey, their ongoing quest to entertain during dialogue and keep things moving meant that we very rarely had camera 1, camera 2. Even when we went down to those really basic lip flaps and back and forth camera that we had in side quests or side conversations, the dialogue then jumped in. It was so engaging that you couldn't help but not care. Whereas I played some games, 16, where it's not just the cut in budget, it's the cut in overall my interest in what's even being talked about.
I haven't gotten deep enough in 16. I felt that way with a lot of the side quests in 16. I was just like, I'm just plain not interested in this. It's a really good, well-rounded package. It's got it all. The gameplay is so good that the story being as quality as it is, they just kind of lock in and make an unassailable product. And that's why I was focusing on, like, I know I'm gonna like this story. So, oh my God, thank God the gameplay is incredible. That to me, so yeah, because you can go at it in either direction. Like maybe a friend sold you on this game with its combat system. So you went in thinking, well, the gameplay's good, my buddy says it is. Holy shit, the story, whoa! I was the other way. It was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like the story. And so I wasn't surprised the story was good. I was surprised how good it was, especially with all the hype. Because for me, my entire journey with this was hype, and then actually play it and go, wow, it lived up to the hype. Hell, it'd be a horrible title, we're not gonna use it, but if I would lived in a world where I didn't need to try on YouTube titles, that would be the title for this video. Lived up to the hype, because that's my journey with it.
Simple as.
But yeah, it is just such a good product. Everything about it. And it runs well. It was made in Unreal Engine 5. Everybody's shitting on this engine. It is the bane of the existence. They can't even run Borderlands in this damn thing. Borderlands is one of the ugliest games ever made, and it's been just as ugly since the first one. I don't get it. And is it perfect? No, as you mentioned. You know, they save some money on lip sync. If you turn on frame generation, which turn that shit off, but you'll run into issues with cloth physics and hair and all that kind of stuff. Things can get weird, but the game runs, and it runs well, and it runs smooth. And unfortunately, 2025 is a year where that is noteworthy. It's noteworthy to mention that a game runs well. And it's definitely noteworthy if it was made in Unreal. So well done, Expedition 33. Hell of a package.
And that fuels the gameplay. The gameplay fuels your progression. You want to spec because the combat is so fun. The Luminas, the feat system, also enjoyable. Getting what is essentially feats and skills by wearing an item long enough seems frustrating on paper, actually worked really well because of just a little bit of farming. And then that made you want to go get more story. And once you get more story, you get more items and you get more spec and then you get more levels, and every single step just kind of fueled the other. I always bring up XCOM in this example. One fuels the other. You're ready for the level because you just did a bunch of building. You're ready for building because you just did a bunch of level, and back and forth.
It all just works. I really hate modern God of War.
Pointless loot.
Pointless loot.
We hate pointless loot.
Stop wasting my time. If you're gonna put it there, you better have a system that's worth interacting with. And God of War, I like 2018, whatever the first one is, where they didn't do any sort of subtitle. Great story, good core gameplay, and it didn't need anything additional. But they were just like, what if we gave you a bunch of loot? What if we gave you things to slot in? What if we gave you crafting? I'm like, no, I don't care. That game is bloated and it needs to get out of its own way.
Get out of my way!
Expedition 33 to me doesn't feel bloated because there is meat to its systems. You can really get lost sinking your teeth into the builds, the pictos, the luminas of all of this, and it respects your time and allows you to really break the game with some builds in unique ways. And then eventually they added a way for you to beef the game up enough that the enemies can survive and stand up to some of the insane things you can do with the builds in this game. God, it's a good game.
Well, you know, like I always say, it's not about the rock. It's more about
Gustav.
So shall we talk about the story?
It's kind of perfect. Act 1 is great.
The prologue is perfect.
It gets to the point very quickly.
It does Pixar better than Pixar has been doing Pixar lately.
It got me.
Pixar is so good at establishing their worlds. And the most obvious comparison I can make for this is Up. Up has the saddest beginning of maybe any movie I've ever watched. And Expedition 33 does the exact same thing. They just they dump a dump truck of emotion on your heart and your mind,
while establishing a pretty heavy bit of lore and how people even process this world and why they're alive in it.
Yeah. It's bonkers. It's a really strong concept for a fictional world. Like, I love it. And I was able to, this is so specific. I was able to explain this game to my hairdresser. Does it sound a bit bonkers? Yes. But I was able to sum it up pretty quickly.
It honestly just sounds like an episode of a anthology show, like a Black Mirror or Twilight Zone.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning a good show. Second.
It's a perfectly reasonable, graspable concept because everybody's dealt with loss. Everybody's dealt with having to move on. And no matter what age or angle you're approaching that opening from, just being alive is going to give you enough basis to experience that. Even if, let's say you've had no loss, you live in a bubble, Party Man walks in, is like, let's get Gustav drinking, you got a friend.
And then he immediately dies on the beach. But yeah, you got a friend.
Maybe you got no friends. And then you're Mael in the opening, who is just like, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm done with this area.
Probably in over her head. Like, it's an ensemble cast. I mean, I've been struggling so hard this entire time to just talk, like, not just say it's good, but it is. It's just good. Like, there's so many works of fiction out there that are with ensemble casts. Why are some better than others? The quality of the execution. And yeah, I think such a Rorschach test. There's a character here for everybody. There's a trauma here for everybody. There's probably multiples. You probably, if you play this game, you probably find yourself in a couple characters and you probably stumble over a few traumas that you relate to going through this because everybody's dealing with something. Like I said, I walked into this game pretty excited to feel represented on at least the age front, to play an RPG with characters that are closer to my actual age. But I left with the teenager being my favorite character.
How smart and how cool is it to have the teenager enter later? Not only due to what sort of experiences she might have bubbling up inside of her, you are playing as Gustav. And the thrilling thing about it is he's not a fish out of water. He is the most knowledgeable person currently existing.
He is an absolute nerd. What if Egon was the main character?
I love it.
Yeah.
And he invented the converter, which is, who gives a damn, but it's a perfectly good excuse for the magic system, for the Luminas and the Pictos. And it's why there is an advantage in this particular quest. Like, taking the world as real at this current junction in Act 1, that's wonderful.
I mean, Act 1 is just the world as we know it. The world as the game wants you to believe, not the world as it is. That comes later. And honestly, not really till the end of Act 2 do you get a full shock of what all that is. But yeah, man, dude, I love the prologue. I mean, you freaking cried.
I did.
Like, we're both married, so we might get a bit sappy here.
I'm sorry that... I
you
miss
don't
you
need to... Okay.
You go. You know how I feel. I wish things had been... I often think... another path, another future.
Still can't finish your sentences, can you?
Yep, that hasn't changed.
But this, it was just such an effective depiction of a relationship. And we're also both married to people that at one point we dated and broke up with before we then rekindled our relationship that led to marriage.
Lucky enough to not feel like too much time was lost, but
yeah,
easy to relate to in that moment.
I am such a sucker for that. Any fiction with two characters that have a history and then love is rekindled. Oh,
like Twister.
It is yes, I love Twister. Oh my God, I love Twister. Yeah, no, dude, you're absolutely right. No, it is a cheat code to make me relate to your characters. For me, personally.
great monster variety all throughout Act 1. Sad moments countered and held up by comedy, which I think you can't have sad without funny. I don't think you can do horror without a little bit of silliness. It is essential to what makes a real story. And the entire gestural village bit, you knew it was just massaging you so it could deliver that final blow. You knew it was getting you comfy so it could mess with you later.
I didn't trust it. I literally felt like the game was telling me it is not going to be okay. I was just like, this is getting a little wacky. It's getting a little wacky. But also, it surprised me because I was like, oh wow, it is an actual JRPG. It may not be made by a Japanese studio, but the developers have not been quiet about all of the games that they grew up playing that inspired them to make this. And it really is a JRPG. I think a lot of people, particularly our age, were endeared to that entire genre of games coming out of Japan, partially because of the absurd that was part of the story alongside very serious stakes, very developed characters, very, at the time, what probably felt like the most real depictions of relationships you probably had ever seen in a video game. If we're talking about the late 80s and the 90s, heading into the new millennia.
And just the vulnerability of we're gonna do what we can for those who come after. That was the staple, the slogan of Act 1, meant anything could go wrong at any point, and you still would have at least accomplished something that's so different from the power of friendship, the safety that a main cast brings in most video games.
Yeah, no, I feel like the age is just about right too, because like you're just young enough while still being adults that you probably haven't lost your Spitfire yet to think you actually can change the world. Because listen, I'm getting closer to 40. I don't think I can change the world anymore. World may have taken that out of me a little bit, but at 33, I was still angry. I still thought I could get out there and affect change.
And help who you can, and be good to those you know.
Yeah. And then, but I gotta say, man, coming out of this, I'm like, maybe I still can. This is a very hopeful game. It does end fairly sad but healthy, depending on the ending that you choose. We'll talk about that when we get there. But for the most part, there is just a really strong undercurrent of hope in this entire game. And it's like what Gustav represents throughout all of Act 1. He's just this driving force, but it's realistic because he's not just a go-getter. He's not just out there being like, we're gonna do it, team. He tries to off himself. He tries to the mission and just get Mael out of here. Couldn't think of her name for a second. I almost called her Alicia. Like, everyone's so well developed. And then you find out Charlie Cox spent 4 hours in a booth, doesn't even really know what he did.
I remember it. Yeah, that's apply to the actor.
Keep saying how amazing it is and congratulations, and I feel like a total fraud.
That's nuts. I think he's so effective. I'm sure someone somewhere, I think I've seen literally one comment, thousands of comments over our entire playthrough of Expedition 33, and I've read one where someone's like, I don't get everyone loving Gustav. Didn't do it for me, which is fine. You're valid. You don't need to like it, but I did like it, and so for me, I'm like, God, to have that effective of a performance with 4 hours in a sound booth. God, I love creativity. I love it. I have so much hope coming out of this. That's my big arc. By the way, I don't know what the hell the title's going to be about this, but my jumping off point for this is that Expedition 33 will make you believe in creativity again.
Because it's smaller. I loved Baldur's Gate 3. I was impressed by Baldur's Gate 3. I've been impressed by games over the last 5 years. But none of them really had the, for lack of a better word, tightness, the small black box way they went about it, the real kind of actor penmanship of a stage production.
The camp scenes feel like a stage production because the camp is the same camp every time. You might as well be on a stage facing the same direction every time. So it's a known space, but it's odd and almost dreamlike because you're outside. Why is it always the same camp regardless of where you are in the world? But like, don't worry about it too much. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know how much about current events we want to get into, but for me, it's like inseparable. I don't think you and I really talked about it too much because I think we both just kind of get annoyed when we talk about the current state of either the games industry or really just the multimedia landscape. I think 2025 has been kind of a dark year. Every year has been dark for games for a while now. Every year is the best year for games and the worst year for game developers. For me, what really had me down, particularly at the beginning of the year, was just everything going on with AI. And like, I don't think all AI is bad. I think there's plenty. I use an upscale tool. I love it. It's wonderful. When I got to do video work for a client and they send me a 720p piece of shit and they want a 4K video, oh my God, thank God for AI upscaling because it's my only option. But generative AI, like God, I have nothing new to profound to say. Just open your social media app of choice and someone will have the correct number of curse words to tell you how I feel about generative AI. And at the beginning of this year, it just felt like everybody in a place of power commanding hundreds, if not thousands of creatives were just on a podium somewhere talking about how they can't wait to fire all those creatives and let the computer do the work for them. And I can't think of anything more bleak, tone deaf, or insulting. Like, no wonder your games suck ass. This is your end goal. You have actual creatives working on your games, your movies, your TV shows, and it already feels like a commodity. It already feels completely devoid of any artistic merit, like everything was written by a boardroom. And now you're telling me your goal is to remove the creatives from that process? Oh boy, if you think Star Wars sucks now, wait 3 years for the generative AI Mandalorian movie. Because, Season 3 might have been weird, but wait till there's not even a person behind the camera. That's how I was feeling at the beginning of this year. You know, I'm getting dark so that you really understand the levels of creative depression I was in. And then a game literally about a world created by art comes into my life. I don't know, man. It makes me really hopeful because I don't think they set out to make a game that was a middle finger to the suits. Boy, does it feel like one. In a year where a lot of AAA games are not bringing it.
I can't stop thinking of the Larian speech at the Game Awards. A game they wanted to play, and it was based on their own personal passions and what they enjoyed playing. And they made it, and they made something profoundly human, and that's, I feel like, something that we're gonna get to keep to ourselves for a while. There's a lot of errors in this story. If you want to tightly plug every hole in this ship, it's not doable. It's a bizarre concept. It's an insane concept. Of course, it's not gonna be perfectly buoyant, but that's what makes it human. Why do I stub my toe? Why do I? Why is the? Oh, ran out of battery. That explains why I was running out of.
Yeah. You know, you're just not gonna. Do you not like that battery? Oh, it needed a. What was your thought?
I was gonna say a slip on the floor. Why is my sock wet? Did I intend ice to be there that then melted and became the puddle that would become my wet sock? This is all the natural rolling consequences of a couple of goofball family members messing around playing God, and it got out of their control. It's going to be haphazard.
There's too many DMs in this campaign.
There is, and that's what makes it so beautiful. But without even the imagery of art, like, it's a beautiful game. Constantly with the swirling of the canvas and oils in the background.
These are the most breathtaking game environments I've seen in a while, and definitely the freshest. Like, I just never seen anything that looks like this. Maybe hexagonal rocks. I have seen hexagonal rocks before, but those are actual rock formations in France. So I'll give them a pass on that. Like,
I've seen a lot of hand monsters thanks to Elden Ring.
You know, it reminds me of other things, and I do get a FromSoft vibe from a lot of, particularly the enemy designs, but only some of the enemies. The gestrals look like nothing I've ever seen before. I don't even know what I would compare them to. They're so unique. I guess I'd compare them to actual gestrals if you go to an art supply store. Little wooden men that you can pose.
You compare them to a wonderful budget-saving device of not having to animate faces on a huge amount of your cast. But that's that creativity, that how are we going to work inside of it, push them. And this is not a summary of the story. There's plenty of great videos that go step by step over what happened.
But I mean, before we move on from Act 1, I would like to just talk about Gustav's death because it was just so effective. I legitimately didn't see it coming. And it sucks. Like, I'm at a point where I've seen enough, oh God, the main character died, this is amazing, that I don't want to give things points for killing what you think is the main character because it's such a popular bait and switch, but they earn the praise. It's really effective, and it hangs over the rest of the story like a shadow.
And it's very final, which I think speaks very well to the magic system and the way they set up death in this world. When he gets that first blow, you know he's out, that there's not going to be a potion, a res spell. So many games I play and the healer's standing right there driving me nuts. Please do something. Oh, the blow's too mortal, someone will say. Why? Like, Lune, the only one with the magic spells to heal, if you even spect into it at that point, is under attack by the Lamp Master down on SKA's back.
They covered their bases.
All the bases are covered. Miles trapped in a sphere.
That she don't have healing magic anyway.
Nope.
What is she gonna do?
And then just to be extra super 100% sure, they really finish him off and make you stare at it for a little bit.
The look on his face. The look on his face from that first impact, when he turns and he looks at Mael, you know it's over. You just know. I was so in denial. I'm like, there's so many things. We haven't even unlocked his extra moves. What's going on? And that's, again, it's a moment where the marriage of the game and the gameplay and the game mechanics marry perfectly with the narrative. They had a fake talent tree with fake locked shit that you will never get to make you believe there's more to Gustav down the road.
You were collecting weapons that became Verso's weapons, so it didn't feel like wasted effort, but you never got to see any tiers of abilities on those things.
Even had a robot arm, which made me, it seemed like a really obvious foil for unlocking greater power down the road. Upgrade his damn arm.
Even the robot arm is such a great excuse for LOL technology.
Yeah.
He's got a robot arm.
Yeah.
Well, why do they have a Lumina converter? Why do they have battle boats? The dude's got a robot arm. They've got technology. Don't worry about it.
They have tech. It's magic tech.
Yeah, it's fine.
But not magic tech.
No, well, it's adjacent, but yeah.
It's a magic system fueled by, as we find out, paint.
Lune's got tattoos. That gives you power.
Yep.
They're dancers.
Again, art. Art
Yeah.
is power. Art is power in this game. Even in the fiction of the game's world, art is still power.
Make what you know.
They just took it and ran with it. Did you know you can just make things up? Hey, you out there making a game? You can just make up lore. You can just make up your own world. You can do it. You don't need to make another military shooter. You can make whatever the shit you want.
You make new things.
You can make a world full of bugs. What's up, Hollow Knight? Like, oh, it's a great year for games. It's a great year for games from studios that are not owned by Disney.
I couldn't help your friend, but perhaps I can help you.
You want to join us?
If you don't mind the company. Yes.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the paintress first. What's your name?
Verso.
Act 2. This is the big, meaty center of the game where you probably run into your first combat frustrations. I think ours was the just sheer amount of shooting it took to get through Serene.
Yeah, all those flyers were tough.
But also where the abilities start stacking together, so you might have your best combat moments here. And this is the core of the story. Gustav's gone, Verso's replacing his main character. We're picking up the pieces, and by far it felt the longest. And I wanted to live in it longer.
Well, yeah. Act 3 is short. Who ended up being your favorite character? Not just in Act 2, but of course across the whole thing.
I think CL.
CL?
I'd like to know more. I feel like there's a great opportunity for her side quests if they want to add it. That might be what they're working on right now. I think she suffered a little bit by being the most countered element that you often ran into, so fueling her wasn't always viable, unlike some other characters. But as for personal story, immersion, relatability, badass moveset, cool mechanics, yeah, I liked her. Her mask moment, getting to defeat the Mask Keeper, was very cool.
That was sick. Everybody gets a badass moment in this game. It's really nice. I ask because I never really warmed up to Verso.
I don't think you're supposed to.
Well, some people clearly do. I think you are. I think the writers of this game love every character.
Yes.
I struggle to think they have a favorite. And if I had to say this is their favorite, I think it's Verso. I think Verso is their favorite.
I think Verso might have been most interesting for a writer to explore because he's highly unlikable because of his various lying traits for me.
He's unlikable because he's a liar.
Yes.
He is just a bold-faced, constant, endless well of lies,
Very human.
which is funny.
They're not,
He's not human.
yeah, they're not the worst lies. They're not always hurting people. They're trying to simplify, which is the main way a good aligned liar does it.
Yeah, I just never warmed up. I thought he was going to be my favorite character because edgy haircut. When I saw this character, because he's in the marketing materials, you see him every once in a while. When I saw him, I was like, oh, this is going to be my favorite character. But yeah, he just looks so cool. He's edgy. He's got
2 swords.
borderline emo hair and white streaks in it. I'm a sucker for white streaks. Oh my God, I love white streaks in hair. Got a beard. Thank you so much for facial hair. Every character in Final Fantasy XIV is cherubic.
He's got cool scars.
Yeah,
He's got decent abilities.
he's an awesome dude. Not 2 swords. He has sword and dagger, which is also like my
Yeah,
favorite,
he's doing the whole,
my favorite thing ever.
that's pretty cool.
Absolutely great shit. But I just never really warmed up to him. I really liked Gustav. God, I liked Gustav. I went in expecting to like Gustav, liked him so much more than I ever thought I was capable of. I didn't realize I was that capable of enjoying a character. And so, yeah, Verso was just always second-rate Gustav for me. Never warmed up to him, and if anything, I think I got even colder to Verso as we went along.
I think you're supposed to feel that way. In fact, his efforts to warm up are laborious, such as cutting himself in half.
Oh, I thought that was wonderful. That's maybe the most I like him.
And it's good that he put in that effort. I think the fact that you can fuel him on the field immediately is a bit odd. I personally, in a playthrough, would not put him in the party until at least when he cuts himself in half. You may allow him to fight.
And that's optional. You may not see that scene. Did you see Verso cut himself in half?
But Lune, Mael, everyone in this scene, everyone in Act 2 is very fleshed out, but it's so fascinating that we're seeing it all through the perspective of Verso. And it gives it that memento quality, that Sixth Sense replayability.
Oh, yeah.
Because going through it now thinking, did Verso know that the curator was his dad when he's interacting with him the whole time? He's got hints that stuff's going on. He knows a lot. He's leading the party through the steps, but continues to tell them falsehoods.
Well, he eventually admits, if you make the choice, that he let Gustav die. That he could have saved Gustav, but he let him die because he didn't think that Mael would help him if Gustav was still alive. So he, in the canon of the game, confirmed that Verso will do whatever he sees fit to move the party along to his ends, which other characters are guilty of too, but they're more straightforward about it, and so I think it's a little easier to be sympathetic toward their causes. And I think that's why I eventually ended up just liking Mael so much. And she also is just closest to Gustav's ideals. So because I liked Gustav so much, I think I was really primed to be a Mael sucker. I also think in the first 2 acts, she's really shown in a pretty mature light, handles herself well. Most she struggles is with the death of Gustav, which who among us wouldn't? I think most people that played this game struggled with the death of Gustav. So yeah, I just ended up really liking the character. And so I don't want to be misunderstood though. I think Verso is a fantastic character. Really well realized, really well written, beautifully voiced by Chloe's good old Ben Starr. Ben, if this ends up in front of you, we'd love to have you on the podcast at some point. Big fans. I'll try not to geek out too hard on you.
And actually was where the combat, I think, is at its best. The bosses, the enemies you're facing, you're meeting such a rogues gallery constantly with these axons. It's a great showcase of what the game is capable of. Climaxing with the Paintress, of course, who is a wonderful final boss battle that is not the finale, but close enough to the end, you could say it's kind of part of it.
Act 3 almost feels like an epilogue. I know there are technically epilogues.
And a false epilogue.
False epilogue?
Well, at the end of Act 2, there is an epilogue.
Oh, there is an actual, yeah, you're right, there is a literal epilogue. But yeah, all of Act 3 to me almost feels epilogal. Is there a word for that?
It's almost episodic, but no, yeah.
Just don't say Oedipal.
The acts are more like books, really, and they all have their beginnings and middles and defined ends, with even the little chapter at the end that sometimes is an epilogue.
Epilogish.
And then you wait a year for the non-Martin writer to finish the book.
He's still alive.
But yeah, but he hasn't finished it.
There's still a chance.
He can still do it someday.
It could still happen. Yeah, Act 2 is incredible. It goes full RPG. The full power of this game's mechanical systems is realized. That becomes even more clear once you've played Act 3, just like how special Act 2 is from a gameplay perspective. But the story is also amazing. We really get to explore every single character. How have we not talked about Eskia or Minoko yet?
It's worth saying just to say they're fabulous.
They're so delightful.
They're so good.
We are children of the 90s. How many movies with funny sidekicks have we thrown at our senses?
To the point where we bemoan them and wanted silent sidekicks too. And here we have a perfectly solid, even perhaps moment ruining with the mask hitting Minoko in the face. But you know what? Funny as hell. Loved it.
They thought about it.
It was logical.
It was going through my head almost the moment before it happened. Was like, isn't Minoko wearing a mask? And as my brain thinks that, it's wonderful.
Right off his gourd.
The game doesn't forget to add in humor. And I think it wields it deftly. Humor is different for everybody, but I think often of Thor Ragnarok, one of my favorite Marvel movies. Almost perfect wielding of humor. But when the planet explodes at the end and Rock Dude makes a joke, I want to punch the television every time. Like 1, 2 minutes, let the moment land, you goon. That's what I think every time I watch that movie. But I don't think at any point the humor got in the way of the weight of the rest of the narrative for me. I can't think of a single moment. I think Eskia is a near perfect comedic character. Minoko too. Minoko maybe even a little more my style. I like people who are prickly.
Any complaint I would have about Minoko is countered by the fact that he was trained to be himself by Verso, and of course he would end up that way. And that makes him a wonderful character.
It's weird how he almost feels like a little brother to Verso.
They're tragic in their simplicity, as opposed to the other characters who appear real.
I think they are.
Moves us in Act 3.
I wanted to ask you your favorite Eskia moment.
The hug with Mael. Yeah,
after Gustav's death.
Yeah, that was, otherwise I would not have accepted him as heavily as I did.
He even that ridiculous character has range. He's still a fully formed character. Yeah, because I think the most important scene is the one between him and CL, which again I believe is optional. I think if you don't engage in enough side dialogue, you will not see it. But where you find out how SDA knows CL, it's beautiful. And also, again, it's this moment where the comedic relief is extremely touching. Although his comedy and the simplicity of his mind makes a very heavy topic really approachable, sad, and beautiful, like all at the same time.
Well, and you get into delivery too. Like any of those, you can read the subtitles before he speaks. Tell me where he's going to put the pause. It's a phenomenal, astrally incredible read of the character.
Yeah, but my favorite scene is when he barfs up wine.
Oh, yeah.
Barfing wine SKA is just like, love it.
Draining the reserves.
If Jar Jar Binks had 3 seconds, that was that funny. I would have forgave a lot. I'm not sure I have a favorite Minoko moment. Probably the mask.
I love his mechanic. He was so much fun to wield. It was fun to collect the abilities. That is a mechanic that I love and is often tacked on and poorly designed. This was his mechanic. It worked great. It was fun to do. It was fun to go back to old areas and farm. I wish he could have come in the game sooner so I could have enjoyed him longer.
And yet, if you get to the Paintress, you would have ended up getting all the feet from the beginning monsters anyway. You didn't have to go back and farm. We just didn't know it at the time, so we did. Well, you did. You went back and farmed.
Oh, really?
I think you end up fighting damn near every starting monster
Oh, yeah,
in the march through the monolith, because you go through all of the zones again in kind of a greatest hits.
That's true. It was fun to do. It was fun to farm.
Yeah.
Oh no, play the video game.
Yeah, it made you want to adventure. It made you want to engage in the overworld, which, oh my god, it's a game with an overworld in the Age of Our Lord 2025.
Tomorrow comes.
I guess we're about to fight on if they're real people or not. So let's talk about.
Let's do it.
Talk about the
Act 3.
Well, let's talk about the climax of Act 2.
Okay.
The revelations of Act 2, which are synonymous with reeling as a player in Act 3. How did it land for you, man? Did you like it all at the end of 2?
Oh, I loved it. I thought that was a great reveal. I knew there was a lot of symbolism. I didn't know it was this literal, and that we were going to be embedding ourselves in an experimental world like this, that there was a world outside of our own with its own technology, like this painter thing that they've created. But a great freaking excuse for any magic system, as good as ether, as good as mana.
My favorite magic system is bending.
Bending, as good as bending. I think it's a great system, and you can go far with it.
I'm of two minds. I didn't need it. I think the game world was enough. I think I wanted them to not go wider than that. I think that's what I wanted. I still really liked what I got. And I think it was very well done, but I didn't need it. I didn't hope for it.
I would agree with you 100% if the writers had gotten involved in this game. The faction of the writers, this is a family affair in a canvas. Done.
Yeah.
That's small enough.
I just find the idea of the paintress and the gommage so compelling that there being a larger threat, like the end of existence. I didn't need it.
That's why I find it more important to acknowledge Renoir's exhaustion more than understand how long he was under the monolith. Because we're working with made-up years anyway.
Yeah.
It's more of a feeling.
We are working with made-up years, but they're not made up if you're stuck in the canvas. You experience those years in real time. Mael has lived to the age of 16 twice, which, by the way, does not make a 32-year-old. She's just a double teen. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You've made it to your most awkward years twice.
I do always enjoy the trope that when you get your memories back, you might become a bad person. Changing fundamentally. Amnesia. It's essentially amnesia plot.
It is amnesia. Oh, shit, I do like that, though. Anytime the bad guy turns good, and then they remember who they are.
And suddenly they're like instantly bad. Wonderful. Or if they're conflicted. I mean, you're playing the character here. It is more heavy-handed than make your own choices, though. You choose between endings. You do not choose your actions.
No, not at all. And I really love and respect how much they still leave for the audience to read into themselves. We're still debating if the painted people are real. And there's plenty of people who, I guess, hate nuance that would love to yell at you and tell you you're wrong in either direction.
And yeah, both directions.
Both camps are guilty of people who, I guess, aren't curious. I don't understand having a lack of curiosity. Anyway, but the comments from people are just like, how can you play this game and get to that realization? I'm like, how can you play this game and not get to the realization that they're not picking sides? The people who wrote this game are not picking sides. They're trying to leave it as ambiguous as possible. They don't see anyone as the villain. To me, that's true. That's the only truth in this entire game. That nobody who wrote a word about this story and committed it to the script of Expedition 33 has picked a side on who they think is right or wrong. I think this entire story, this entire narrative is an exercise in no heroes or villains.
There is weight in the execution, but I agree with you.
I think they tried to be ambiguous with the two endings. I think Verso's ending is so much more well-adjusted. That's why I tell you, they may have been trying to keep it even, but I think Verso's the favorite character because Verso has the more well-adjusted ending.
And when you learn everything about Renoir and what he's been doing and why he's been doing it, you are left with a perhaps less complex villain, but still a more real person. So it works.
Yeah.
But if who wouldn't love just a little touch of mile magic, just a little hint of, that was a cool choice. You want to see the other one, rather than the crushing defeat of what you've poorly chosen to do.
Yeah. Well, let's have a discussion now. Do you think the painted people are real?
I'm as real as anything.
I think they're as real as we are.
Yeah,
We were created by Stardust or a creator, depending on your actual beliefs at home. If you could create with a paintbrush, you're now responsible for that creation.
souls lining up, a sparkle in your dad's eye, however the shit you got here. I'm happy to be in existence, and I'd like that to continue, but it's a compelling question. And I think the reason why there's so much debate and so much extreme view on the subject is because it's just plain sad, and you just want to be right.
Yeah.
For a brief moment, you want to be able to fathom this basic concept of humanity and whether you'd make the right trolley problem choice. And you can't.
It is a trolley problem.
Yeah.
It's 100% a trolley problem. Yeah. And the game doesn't answer it for you. At no point does anyone sit down and like have a debate about the ethics of Loot ACL and every painted character. No one has a debate. They barely debate Verso's soul. They talk about it's the last piece of his soul and they don't want to lose it. And then it's not until the ending moments of the game that we actually learn that it appears to be quite literally a piece of his soul. But that's not what they're interested in. No one in the game tells you what's right and what's wrong. Nobody in the game tells you if the painted people are alive or if the people that created them think of them as alive. Renoir's only just worried about the literal health of his family members. That's it. And yet, if they wouldn't stop getting lost in the painting, he wouldn't give a shit and would probably just let the painting collect dust in a corner somewhere.
But still, knowing he has to destroy it, he treats every painted person with respect and tries to give them a beautiful end, give them time to say goodbye, to have those moments.
Toward the end, Renoir, he gets pretty interesting. He's still I find Renoir a tad bit one note, like just a tad bit. And I think that's what kind of brought me over to Mael's side, because he doesn't really take the time to talk to her. He's just like, your mom's sick and you're getting sick like your mom. And mom doesn't die, which is, I think, what it would have taken for me to be like, okay, the stakes are real. I know they show mom sick.
Yes, we're getting into far deeper assumptions, but probably accurate assumptions about who Renoir is. He has a family. Him and his wife love going inside paintings and creating worlds. He's probably not around much, probably doesn't have much patience for his kids. Clearly he's very rich given his house's location to the Eiffel Tower in this fictional world, the size of his estate and home.
Well, it's fun because it makes me think about the elongated years that he spent inside the canvas. The game doesn't really talk about this or explore it, but because you know that you experience more years in the painting than you do in real life, for all intents and purposes, he's been stuck in that painting for a
Very long time.
Really long time. Really, really long time. Real, actual Renoir, as the curator, has been stuck beneath the monolith for at least 16 years, because that's how
Easy.
Mael is in painted world time.
He's been there since the whole Gamage started.
Yeah. Well, it started because of his war with his own wife in painting, in canvas.
He could have been more complicated, but I do appreciate that we rushed to the end. Mechanically, I don't. Simple as, I think painted power was a mistake. I think the game lost its function, and we had to actually depower ourselves in multiple ways approaching the final battle in order to see it all.
Yeah.
And we've heard this not only from like a live chat, but from friends would message me and say, hey, make sure you're gonna miss a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot of warnings, and I really appreciate those warnings. Streaming games is such a mixed bag from your personal game experience, but this is a really strong example of where I think our audience and our friends that knew what we were playing really helped us out, because I really enjoyed the experience that we had, and I played through a second time on my own personal save, and I just plowed through. You can miss so much in that final fight with Renoir. You can miss the summoning of the Axons. They'll just suddenly be there. You miss the whole them coming in, and it's such a wonderful moment. If you're as bought in as I was at that point, seeing the Axons come in during the fight with Renoir is so peak, so awesome, so epic. I'm going to use all the boring buzzwords.
And I don't feel like Clea or Simon are essential to understand the plot. It does add nuance. I think it's great side quest material, but to know that doing that content would have made that problem exacerbated is a shame that they couldn't counteract that in their own system. I hope there's a Game of the Year edition where they're able to retool that balance, and this conversation's a waste of time for anybody watching at that point.
Yeah.
A history lesson on what was and how fast you should head to the end.
Yeah. It's a technical debate. I don't think painted power is the problem because I want to see bigger numbers. It feels good in an RPG. They should have tuned things higher, and you can change it, but that's crunchy. Don't inject that uncertainty in my mind. I don't want to have to sit there and balance the game. I hope they go back and rebalance it. I'm glad that they added the tool. I'm thankful for it. I think they should just go back in and retool it, especially because there's a difficulty slider. So if you want it to be easy, set it to easy.
And I think they told the story they wanted to tell. This wasn't a moral choice system. There were 2 endings, but there was no moral choice involved. If you did Miles' side quest, you saw the person she was evolving into. Renoir talked to you as the person you were evolving into. And I want to see them do that again. I don't want them to cater to me and who I thought Miles was. I want them to continue the next game to make a story to tell and continue these very strong narrative experiences.
Wait, so you want them to just go to some new characters?
I just don't want them to try to make a Mass Effect kind of BioWare experience where my character aligns based on my choices. I think they just have such strong, and the mystery, the whodunit, the who is it of this entire story holds up because it was told at the pace of Verso's lies. And without that, the mystery doesn't hold up. If you could do things out of order, if you could know more than you're supposed to at certain moments, the fact that we had all those flashbacks, visions, nightmares, dreams, astral projections was essential to the storytelling.
I love when you don't just trust your audience, respect your audience, let your audience play a role in the story you're telling.
I love both. I love it when in James Bond we go to the villain room and it's just villains. Why do we even know this knowledge? Who's in there? Because it's fun. But I also love a movie that makes a distinct choice to say, you are the hero, you have the hero's knowledge.
Tell stories different ways, but I like all of that. I still think about some of those Mael nightmares and was like, what? Still, what the hell did it mean? When they were all their with their cake with the milk with the Eiffel, well, why? Just what was the point of that?
I was just her, thinking about the past, right?
But also the future because Verso's in there, but also alongside Gustav.
Because it's evocative.
It's nuts, man. I love it. I love that shit.
We never received a true vision of Verso in the fire. It was always false handout party Verso. Unless he actually did that and stood in a fiery room with a suit.
No.
With no...
Well, because we know he saved Mael, so he would have been carrying her.
Stop, drop, and roll. Let it do something.
Move. Yeah. You're still able to stand.
It's hot.
No, it's artistic. It's an artistic interpretation. I keep thinking about is it just, did I want something different or do I not like some of the decisions made? And I think almost everything that could have started to become a complaint from me lands on, I just wanted something different, which I'm okay not getting what I want in stories if I still think it's well executed. And I do think, boy, do I think the end of this game is well executed. But I think the closest thing I get to just disagreeing with a decision made in the construction of this game is, funny enough, the only decision we have to make in this game. There is one choice in this entire game. You can alter on your dialogue choices. Okay, I guess romance is its own choice, but you can also miss out on romance entirely. The guaranteed choice you have to make in this game is the ending. And I think it's the closest I get to disagreeing with this game. Everything else was crafted, canon, a clear arc, a clear story the writers of Expedition 33 had to tell. I don't know that I wanted the split ending.
90% of my experience in getting over the ending was realizing how embarrassed I was I even went with Miles' ending. That I even was subjected to that because of a personal choice. I felt responsible for what I had done to Lune, CL, Verso. Forever piano Verso.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to adjust the other ending. So she's just sad. Do I want that for the character? Do I actually want to make her feel like she's in a shell for the rest of her life and has no real living to do? No. Goodness, no. But I just want to equalize them a little bit. But that's all on my own personal embarrassment.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I do. I think I take personal issue with Mael's ending. I think I feel judged for being a Mael fan by the creators of the game. Yeah, and I don't know. I probably should have read into it somewhat, because if you do Mael's side quest, Mael's ending makes a lot more sense.
She is becoming that person.
Yes.
Who has that ending.
She erases her painted mirror without a second thought and destroys Verso in the process. He's not happy about it. He does not appreciate that she did not at least wait, let him have a moment. And I think Verso is justified. I completely understand. That is the most I've ever been on Verso's side, was that at the end of Mael's side quest. But I wasn't really thinking about it in the ending because I knew it was optional. And so I guess, to the writer's credit, good on them to have what I think is important character development in a side quest, because boy do I hate it when I feel like a side quest is a waste of my personal time to go and do.
But you can also read that as she now has no value for painted life, and the other ending is actually the better one. We just need to help her get over it. That's where I agree with your take on Renoir. Because Renoir's right ends up being the answer, the simple answer.
It's a bit boring.
With very little complexity to it.
And that's where I think, like, again, I don't think the game is trying to say that he's right. I think it's really easy to say he's right, though. And if you are a denizen of the internet, it can get a bit exhausting hearing that over and over again. Because I'm like, how boring. Can't we talk? Don't you want to have a conversation? Like, yeah, if you just want to be boring about it, Renoir's right, I guess. But I don't even think that's what the game wants you to take away from this. I think the game wants you to take away whatever you take away. We talk about often, at least I bring up, I love the death of the author. I love, like, you made it, all right, you're done. Your part is done.
And they've stuck to it.
It ain't art until someone else looks at it.
Good for them, they've stuck to it.
And interprets it. Yeah, and so I appreciate that. I just think the Mael ending is so goddamn harsh that it's hard to accept its existence for me. Because, I don't know, I guess when she was talking to her father at the end and she was just like, I'll leave eventually, I guess I believed her. Because aside from her side quest, I think I took Mael as a very well-adjusted character.
It feels like we may have seen the scene too early. As though if we had seen the years go by more, we could have seen the good ending where she left of her own accord.
Maybe. Yeah, but nothing about that ending makes it seem like she's leaving.
No.
I think the Mael ending is Mael dying in the canvas.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Seems a rather sickly end.
Yeah. Do the ends justify the means? Because you have to imagine if Mael is dead in the canvas, they probably don't erase the canvas. You know, who are you saving at that point? Mael's dead. They probably just leave the canvas alone, and the denizens of Lumiere go on.
Live forever in that fractured world.
Yeah. Maybe Renoir checks in on them and grants Verso the death that he asks for. That's my cope. That's the only way I can even stomach Mael's.
But then you've still got Mom kind of caught in the middle of it. So all the things stack to make Verso's ending the most healthy for the most...
I completely agree.
Godlike people, as odd as it is to say, like...
I completely agree. And it all comes back to Charlie Cox because I enjoy the Daredevil revival season.
What's that got to do with it?
It's going to maybe take too long to explain. However, so the original Netflix Daredevil, and my point is, there's a debate on if Mael went and just repainted the characters in a new canvas. She brought back CL, brought back Mooney. There's a debate on if they are really those characters. But I like the new Daredevil season, and it's basically repainting characters that I love. It's good enough. It's good enough for me.
So both are good?
Both are good.
Maybe.
Both are good.
I think the dessert sucked, but man, that meal was good.
I think the ending's good. It's just challenging.
It's challenging, but it's final. And that's nice.
It is nice. Despite my embarrassment with the Mael ending, it is so bleak that I love it. There's anyone who's seen Twin Peaks Kyle hasn't seen it. He doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. Bleakest ending to anything I have ever seen. And the closest I have ever come to experiencing the feeling that I felt at the end of Twin Peaks was Mael's ending in Expedition 33. So while I have a personal great deal of shame for feeling like I was hoodwinked into thinking that that would be an okay future for all parties, I really respect that ending. Oh, it's just so f***ing evil. It's so evil. I love it. It makes me want to crawl out of my own skin.
So in the words of Emperor Palpatine, when he was but a senator,
We'll watch your career with great interest.
that's what I'm going to do with Sandfall, man.
With Sandfall.
I am looking forward to whatever they do next. Immensely.
Money that no longer belongs to me. I will buy whatever their next game is as soon as I can give them money. Can I become an investor? I don't even have that much money. How do I back?
How do we kickstart? How do we help?
Can I don't even have that much money to give, but can I give them something and get like a coaster? Like
Pre-order before it exists? Is that what you're asking?
what do I need to do? I am a simp. Like I am such a fan.
Great game.
Yeah.
Really great game.
That's
And when someone says, but that ending, I'll say, I know, right?
an ending can make you angry for the right reasons. It's like, and that's, I think, the difference. But there's endings that can make you mad, but like they stick with you. Like sometimes, I don't know, man. Sometimes you just kind of gotta get beat up by a story. And Expedition 33 beat the shit out of me. It deserves every award that it's going to win. Don't f this up. A hero arc rate is good. I don't care.